everyone, welcome to my Flosstube channel, Thread the Needle. My name is Bonnie and I'm from Newfoundland, Canada. I'd like to say welcome to those of you who are joining me for the first time, and to those of you who have decided to come back and keep watching my channel. Thank you so much. I'm super appreciative that you are returning again and again, and thanks for being here. So I think today I'm going to start off with a little shout out to a stitching friend of mine who also has a Flosstube channel, and he recently, on one of his recent videos, gave me a shout out, and his name is Darcy, and he's just the funniest guy. He's such a likable guy, and I think a lot of you will relate to him. You should really go check out his channel. I believe his Flosstube and his Instagram have the same handle. It's Stitchman Darcy. I'll link him below in the description. But he, when he was talking about me, I really felt a connection because, you know, he talks about how we are one of the few Canadian, Atlantic Canadian cross-stitchers who have floss tubes. And truth be told, I'm not the only one here in Newfoundland. There are actually a couple of others that are around, and they have floss tubes too. So I will link their videos down in my description box as well. But yes, it's always nice to hear from a fellow Canadian cross-stitcher because we are few and far between. So it's really, really nice. And he is such a friendly fellow. And honestly, I like to try and stitch while I'm watching these Flosstube videos, but I find with him, it's just, he's so funny, and I either just lose my place in where I'm stitching or I'm just paying attention to what he's saying, and you got to give him your full attention sometimes, and he is hilarious. So Darcy, thank you very much for letting all your viewers know about me, your fellow cross-stitcher. And so for those of you who have found me through Darcy, welcome, and I hope you enjoy what I'm doing here. He mentioned how we are a community that can, we love what we do, but even more so, we love watching others do what they love. And so that's the thing. I mean, I know there's not a lot of people out there who do full coverage stitching like myself. So he said that was one of the things he enjoys also, is watching the pieces that I stitch on grow, because he also does full coverage cross stitch, but we're doing different pieces. So it's really nice that we can compare pieces. Even though I like what he's doing and he likes what I'm doing, we're still doing very different pieces, and it's really nice, really nice to see. So please go check out Darcy. All right, let's dive right in to my works in progresses for this year. I've got a lot to show you, okay? So I don't know which one I should start with. I think I'm gonna flip it around this time, and I'm gonna show you all my other works in progresses before I get to my regulars, or maybe I should. Okay, here's go. Let's start off with one of my regulars. So as you all know, I have decided to stitch on 3 projects this year that I'm going to focus on while I rotate through all of my works in progresses. And one of them was this piece called Siamese fighting fish. Fighting fish. It is from an Etsy shop, One Stipple 2 Stitch. Anita is wonderful. She charted this from her son's artwork, and it is going to be a very large piece, but I'm stitching it on 1/1 on 28 count full cross. And here's how much I have so far. So you'll notice that the color is obviously going to come here, and instead of continuing down the diagonal, this is where kind of like the page line is. So I didn't want to stop on like a complete straight line of stitches, so I decided that each column will end in like a point and then go across the entire piece of the project, rather than trying to continue to do diagonals, because I didn't want to have to figure out what to do when I got to the end of this. I thought it would just look cooler if I just went across the columns and ended at this stage right here. So it's coming along really nicely. I'm still looking forward to getting to some of those specialty threads that Anita was so kind enough to send me some so I could work on it while I'm working on her project. So I'm super excited to get to that stage of the project where I can pick up those specialty threads and put some stitches in with that. Next piece that I am going to show you, let's see. I think I'm going to move along to one of my, here it is, I've got a lot, you can see I'm sifting through them, right? So this is a UFO. For those of you who don't know, a UFO in the cross-stitch world means unfinished object. So this has been in my UFO pile for a long time, and I have a rotation wheel that I spin every time it's time to work on a different project, but then I also have a separate UFO wheel. So if my regular rotation wheel tells me to work on a UFO, then I spin the UFO wheel and I land on one of my UFOs. So not only do I have multiple projects that I'm working on in my rotation wheel, I also have multiple UFOs. For some reason or other, I've decided that either I'm not in the mood as much, I still love them all, but I'm just not in the mood to kind of work continuously on it. So long story short, the one that I got to work on this time was Prelude to a Kiss. It's by Heaven and Earth Designs. Josephine Wall is the artist, and it's a quite detailed piece, as you can tell. And I think before it solidly became a UFO, I had just done a page and a half or page and 3/4. So when I picked it up, this is where I am now. So you can tell this page was already done. So I've been spending a lot of time filling in this page, and oh my gosh, the confetti in this, I forgot how much confetti is in a Jo Wall piece. Her pieces, her designs and her charts, her paintings are so intricate, so much detail that when it's converted into cross stitch, as Heaven and Earth Design has done, there's just so much confetti. So I'm finally almost finished filling in all the confetti over here, and then I'm spilling over into the next page right there. So I'm almost done, and I'll have 2 full pages done soon, hopefully. This is being stitched on 2/1 full cross on 22 count fabric. So that is the Prelude to a Kiss by Jo Wall from Heaven and Earth Designs. Okay, that one is done. The next one is another UFO that I got to pick, and super happy about this one. It's Peacock Fantasy. This is another piece that is done on 28 counts, so the stitches are tiny, like tiny. So I finally got the head done on Peacock Glamour. And look at all that goodness. Let's see if I can focus that a bit better. There we go. It's beautiful. I mean, it's just gorgeous. And you can see then I started going into the neck here more. But getting this done, and to be perfectly honest, until I actually put the last stitch in and stepped away, I couldn't really see the proper detail of the fanning up here. And it was literally after I put the last stitch in these little round bubbles, did it actually look like what it was supposed to look like. And it still amazes me that one stitch can make such a big difference on some of these pieces. This one is technically full coverage. Here's what it's going to look like when it's done. That's Peacock Glamour, I believe, by Heaven and Earth Designs. Funnily enough, I don't have a finished product piece, but it has been super challenging, let's say, to work on that one because of the fact that it's 28 count and it's so tiny and so intricate, I can't speak today, apparently, intricate, that it has been a challenge. So I do like working on it, but I find a lot of the time, so here is what it's gonna look like on when it's finished, right? So I do really enjoy working on it, but I find that with the 28 count, it needs a lot more attention and patience on my part, shall we say. So this is as far as I've gotten with it for the time being. But every time it comes up, I will continue to work on it. I'm just super happy that I got the head part done, the eye and it looks gorgeous. So I'm very happy with how that's going. Now, the next one. Excuse me as I drop my pen. All right, next one is QS Peridot. We are getting close, my friends. We're getting close. So this is what the finished, there you go. This is what the finished piece is going to look like. It's being done on 22 count. I'm doing every single one in the series, and I'm currently doing this one. Here is how much I've got done so far. I'm getting closer and closer every time, and it is so much fun. Like, I mean, there's just a little bit more in her elbow, and even just those little stitches that it just shapes out the shape of her elbow, and then the bodice is all done. Yeah, I think there's just like one stitch or something right here in the gem, but so looking forward. I mean, this was the hardest part, trying to get all those little pieces, stitches in there, the confetti stitches, to get that design in her bodice. But look at the design. How amazing is that? That's my favorite part about these pieces, that they just come out so beautifully. But that's my favorite part. In this particular piece, that's my favorite part, the design in her bodice. And it's gorgeous, absolutely beautiful. So that one's done. Next, I'm going to show you another. It used to be my UFO pile, but I most recently, when I finished, I think, the Santa Claus piece that I really wanted, I started a new piece in place of that one, but I also wanted to reward myself and move a UFO that I was kind of getting back into my regular rotation. So I picked up my Autumn Owl Trio, and this is what it's going to look like when it's done. So I've decided to not stitch the orange part at the top. I think I start like right here. So I just did the chart on the bottom half of the picture as probably, yeah, it's pretty much a half. So I've started obviously with the purple owl, who is the cutest thing. And I finally have done the first column of pages. Yay! For the longest time, I was stuck right here. But I finally got it done, and it's so adorable. And then I started up here. But it is the cutest thing, and I cannot wait to keep working on this one and get more of those vibrant colors stitched in. They are so much fun. The orange, it just reminds me of a creamsicle or something like that, but this orange is hard, but we're getting there. I almost got the next column. I think I should get more color in there, so looking forward to that. So isn't that great? So that's 2/1 full cross on 22 count. Heaven and Earth Designs, I think the artist is Anya Kai, and she does some adorable pieces. You guys should really go check her out. So this one is a really lovable piece. It makes me happy working on this one. I love it to pieces. So there's that. Next, as I check my notes, you'll notice me, looking down at my notebook and crossing things off as I talk about them, because there's certain things that I really want to make sure I get to talk about today, and I don't want to forget them. So next, let's move on to the new start that I decided to do because of finishing my Santa piece. So I decided to do a new start as a reward to myself for finishing completely the QS Christmas present. I decided on picking a piece. It's called Mini Opening Night. and it is by Heaven and Earth Designs, and the artist is Lee Bogle or Bogle. I don't know how to pronounce it, sorry. It's B-O-G-L-E, so I'm gonna say Bogle, or maybe Bogle. I don't know. It's beautiful, regardless, whatever you want to call it. It is just so pretty. Pretty, that's all I can say about it. It's pretty. My daughter is a ballerina too, and she recently, in the last couple of years, started dancing on pointe, and she loves to dance, and I asked her opinion. I had a few pieces that I wanted to start, and I said, which one do you think I should start? And so she and I both agreed that this one would be a good one. And I decided to do it on one of my fun fabric of the month pieces. So I picked this fabric. I don't know which is a better, there you go, that's a truer color. It's kind of like a bluish purple. It's coming up very blue in the camera, but in real life it's a little bit more purpley. So now let me show you the side that I've started. So again, this is full coverage, except for like the edges, just like the Peacock one. It's not like, there's no white to be stitched around that. So wherever the color is, that's where I'll be stitching. So I'm doing this on 18 count 2/1 full cross. And this is how much I've got done so far. Not bad for a first start, because you know, it takes time to set up your material and get things going. So of course I had to mark my grid. I use a water soluble pen. I would never be able to stitch without a grid. It is how I have to stitch, because I suck at counting. Even with the grid, I have to count like at least 2 or 3 times, especially if I'm going a little bit further. But because I stitch in the diagonal, it's not that bad with this one. But before, when I used to stitch cross country, I had to count meticulously and make sure I was, you know, counting properly. And then after you get a few stitches in, then it's a lot easier to find your place. But if those first few stitches were wrong, then the rest of the piece is thrown off. So you know how they say, measure 3 times, cut once, when you're like, you know, building something, or, you know, for carpentry or cutting something. Count 3 times, stitch once, because it's a pain in the bum to have to frog something. And for those of you who don't know, frogging means you're ripping stitches out. It's called frogging because when you ripping, either the sound or the words that you say, rip it, sounds like a frog. So that's your little tidbit of knowledge of stitching for today. So that is my new start from last week. There it is. I'm looking forward to building more of that watercolorness in the background and then getting to the dancer. It's going to be so much fun. Okay, now I can get into my next 2, let me fold this properly so I can show it properly. The next piece is one of my focus pieces for the year. It is a mystery cell by the Cross Stitch Studio, TCSS, and they're doing a mystery cell this year, and I couldn't be happier. It is a full coverage mystery cell, so you have no clue what you're stitching on, which is really, really weird in a way. All you get is a theme. And you can guess, and obviously I'll show you now, but we can kind of guess what's coming up. But we still have no idea what's in the rest of the piece. And it's funny, sometimes, you know, I'm going through, I'm going to show you how much I've got done so far. So this was the first-ish page right there. And then the second page came out, and then the third page came out, and now I've started working on the last page in the column. So I'm going to show you a little bit more close up. So as you can tell, sure, we've got the owl up there, but you can't really tell what this, from what I've seen of other people's stitches, this looks like some kind of log or something. So I'm guessing these are ending up to be leaves, and I have no idea what this is. But what the funny thing is that it's so weird to stitch on something and you're just stitching away and you have no idea. It's almost a little bit mindless that you're just, I have to put this color here. Sure, I don't know why, but I'll do it. And then you do it, and then you don't really realize that it serves a purpose until you finish the page or you finish that section. So it is a super fun stitch. I'm very much enjoying it. Now, I have a secret to tell you. I don't do this very often. I always measure my fabric and I make sure I have enough. But for this one, I just had to pick the fabric that I had, and I didn't want to, or I had something in my stash and I wanted it to do it. So as you can see, this is the very end of my fabric. It was a little scary at first, and I thought, oh, okay, you know what, no big deal. I might have to either just not stitch the last 2 stitches, but I didn't want to do that because, you know, these people created this chart. Sometimes in very dire situations, I might do that. Or like the owl, where it's like, I just cannot do it, I'm sorry. So I actually had to add some extra fabric at the bottom. It's not even cross-stitch fabric. It is just something that can help me keep it in the frame. So then afterwards, what I'm gonna do into my Q-snap frame. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to take it to my framer and say, I made a big mistake and I don't have very much fabric for you. What can I do? So either they're gonna tell me that I need to attach a different kind of fabric to the end, or I may just have to, you know, do some kind of creative framing for this. But either way, I'm not gonna worry about it now. It is what it is. I'm still loving the journey, and I think this piece is gonna be quite beautiful. So this is how much I've got done so far. The owl, as I think we can all admit, it is an owl. We're gonna call it an owl now, but I have no idea what's coming up in the rest of it because there's still quite a bit left to go. So even if, maybe it's like a whole owl family, because that would be kind of cute. I'm really looking forward to getting to the face of the owl because I think they're cute. They're very, very cute. So that's how much I have done on that. Now, my final focus piece of the year is Ganesha. And it is, of course, charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. And it's a beautiful piece, and I have reached a milestone, you guys. I finally made it to the end of the column. So I'm going to show you that first. End of the row. So I'm going to show you that first. So here is the final darn piece that page I was working on. Okay. So here, I finally finished it all the way to the edge and it's done. Now, are you ready? Are you ready? I've gotten the top 2 rows done of this massive full coverage piece and I couldn't be happier. Look at this, you guys. Like, oh my goodness. Like, I mean, come on. Couldn't be happier. I'm so thrilled with the way it turned out. Right? This is done on 2/1 full cross 22 count, and I'm so proud of it, and I can't wait to start the next row. Of course that means more blue, but hopefully it'll move on quicker. But I mean, so super, super stoked that that is finally done. It was a long time coming, but I did it. And I am so happy because I'm really looking forward to getting some solid work done on this piece this year, which is why one of the reasons that I made it my focus piece. And so here's hoping. So I need you guys to cheer me on and get more work done on Ganesha. And I think it's working, me having those focus pieces, because I'm able to keep up with the mystery cell. They come out with a new page every month and I'm able to keep up. So I just have to make sure that I finish this itty bitty page before the next page comes out on May 1st. So here's hoping, fingers crossed, that I keep on top of it because I'm really enjoying it. I don't want to fall too far back in a mystery cell, even though you can see, because some of the stitchers that I've seen who are doing it are crazy fast. So you can still see the progress. I don't mind that very much. If I really wanted to, I won't look at the pictures. I won't, look on their Facebook page to see what people have posted, but I really don't mind. As long as I don't get too far behind. I'm worried that if I get too far behind in the mystery cell that I'll just start losing interest, and I don't want to do that. So here's hoping that I can keep it up. And as you can see, it's been working really well for Ganesha. I've finished the top 2 rows finally, and I'm so happy about that. Next, I wanted to talk about, right, one thing I wanted to really kind of discuss. I don't know about you guys, but when I'm close to finishing a page, I use Pattern Keeper ever since it came out, and it is like the best thing ever. So I'm gonna try and show you this without showing you the chart page. I think I can manage it. Basically, I want to show you that usually when I'm stitching, most of my pieces nowadays I've been doing cross country in the diagonal. So I'll pick a width of 10 stitches across and I'll stitch in the diagonal. And Pattern Keeper really helps because, okay, this is too far away. There's no way you guys can see the pattern, so we're good. So you see those diagonal lines. Pattern Keeper will put it in for you in either 10 wide or 20 wide and in either direction. So it works out great. So let's see if I can show you. So then on the side here are all the symbols. So if I select any symbol, you can't see that. Or actually, let me just go to one that you can see, easily pick up. So here's the Ganesha. So the cool part about it is you can zoom out, and this is how much I've stitched. So it's showing me exactly what I have stitched on my fabric as opposed to the chart. But when you zoom in, and so on the side here is a list of all your symbols, and then when you select one, so this is, see all that green highlighted is one of the blue colors on the edge. So then on the side, it tells you what color DMC that is. And then in brackets, it also shows you how many more stitches of that symbol and that color that you have left. And so usually when I'm stitching on the diagonal, I'll just start with one symbol and then stitch it throughout that diagonal and be done with it. But when I was this close to finishing the corner of Ganesha, I maybe had this many diagonals left from here to the corner, and I get kind of impatient. So what I'll do is, not with this particular piece, but especially if I'm coming towards a page finish or a project finish, which is what I'm doing with Peridot. That's what I'll show you with. I like, sorry guys, I'm like all over the place today. So you'll notice, so this is it. So usually I'll stitch on the diagonal, but when I'm this close to finishing a project, and it gets very exciting. So instead of going by the symbol that's coming up in the diagonal, I will look to the side of the column and start from the very top. So I don't know if you guys remember my floss organizational system. It was in a few videos back. I have a carry box that has 4 DMC boxes with all of my floss colors, and that's my master box. And then I take that, I use that for all my projects, and then I have a master collection in my craft room that once in my daily collection, if I'm finished one, then I go to the master collection and replace it. So that box goes with me everywhere. So box 1 is like from the first color to like 550, and then the second box starts 552 onwards, right? So when I'm this close to the end of a project, rather than having to go symbol by symbol according to the diagonals, that means I gotta flip boxes, close this one, take the next box, close this one, take the next box. It's time consuming, and I really wanna get close to the end of this page and finish it off. So I will go to the very top of this list right here, and I'll find the first symbol that actually has any stitches left, and look, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. So I'll go to this one that has the first stitches, so that's this one. It has 4 stitches left, and it's in box number 2. So I'll know that I never have to go back to box number 1 because I've done all the stitches that are in this project. After that, then the next one in sequence is 746, which is still in box number 2, so I don't have to waste time putting the box away and opening another box. It saves me time. I don't know about you guys, but it saves me time when I'm in the zone and have everything ready and at arm's length for me. It means a lot. So that is how I finish a project when I'm getting that close. I don't stick to my cross country within a diagonal rules per se. I will finish all the little stitches first so that all that's left, the last symbol, is the one with the most stitches left. So I find that method, it really works for me, and it's fun, and you can like count down, and then it's easy because the boxes are all laid out and all my floss is right there. So that's how I do my page finishing on a project. I hope to have a few more soon over the next few months, next couple of years. I'm really looking forward to it. So next, I wanted to show my next addition in the fabric of the month from Be Stitch Me. This is the March fabric of the month, and it's called Through the Stones, and it's 18 count. And it's really beautiful. It's like a watercolor sage color, so it's really, really nice. So here it is. So it's not a very large piece, but it's not very small either. So that's always a nice fun one to do. The next thing I wanted to talk about was, I'm sure you guys have all heard all over social media, Flosstube, Instagram, that March Madness. I think, I don't know if it was started by the Steel City Stitchers. They're a group of 4 ladies who love to cross stitch. They have a Flosstube channel, they have an Instagram, but they decided to find out what this whole March Madness business was, and they kind of clarified it, and they started their own little hashtag for it. I think it was called Steel City Stitchers March Madness, or the other way around. I really couldn't organize myself enough to join in this year, because basically March Madness is used to, it's in a bracket system. So let's say you started off with 10 projects, and then it's like for the sports bracket, the first 2 compete against each other, and the winner of that one moves on to the next bracket. And then, so if you have 10 in this one, 5 move forward, and then so on and so forth. But I picked the wrong number because you need to have an even number to have a winning pair at the end. And I didn't really know how I could participate, because really March Madness is generally for either smaller pieces or pieces that are almost finished. And as you can tell, all my pieces are full coverage, and I haven't seen anybody out there doing a March Madness with full coverage pieces. So I was really kind of thinking about it. I really wanted to be involved, but I couldn't wrap my head around it. So I think I put the question to you guys, my viewers, and a couple of you actually came back with the same answer, and I think it was a great idea. So I'm going to do that for next year, and we'll wait till next year before we sort out those details. But basically, it was to give myself a challenge of finishing 200 stitches on a project, and then moving it forward in the bracket, and then whichever project wins, I dedicate 2 weeks to it at the end of the month. So that would be the winning project that I would get to work on and finish. So maybe instead of a project finish, it would be like a page finish for March Madness. But we'll see what happens next March. Now, the next thing coming up in the stitching world is cross stitch mania. So mania for the month of May. And this is another one that I thought, I really want to kind of be a part of. Cross stitch mania is the craziness of starting a whole bunch of projects all through the month of May. So I think it started off with, whatever year it started. Let's say it started in 2016. Then you would start 16 projects. Then some people would just start 1 project for every day in May. Again, this is more geared towards non-full coverage stitchers. So I was like, there has to be something for us full coverage stitchers too. And I thought, what the hey, let's just do my own starts. It doesn't have to be a specific number to match with everybody who does a lot of small starts and small projects. I'll do it. I mean, I just won't pick really big ones. So you guys, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do Cross Stitch Mania, and I've selected 4 projects that I'm gonna start. One for every month in May. I picked a few that were my usual style, you know, this very colorful, vibrant, girly fairy type things. But then I also picked a couple that I thought is a little outside of my normal theme of full coverage pieces. But I think I'm going to enjoy it because I've seen quite a few people online stitching on them, and the result has been beautiful. So I've got 4. I'm not going to tell you what they are. I'm going to tease them on my social media page, my Instagram page. So if you're following me on there, in the next few days, you'll start seeing some teasers on what I plan to stitch on. So I've got 4 projects picked out. It's not going to be one of the birthstones because that has nothing to do with it. I'm going to start that when Peridot's finished. One piece is going to be a large piece, not really, really big, but a large piece. And because I don't know how about you guys, but of course we stitch on what we love and what we want to stitch on and what we're going to enjoy stitching on. But I find that a lot of the stuff that I really enjoy stitching on is very girly. My husband says he doesn't mind if the house ends up walls being covered in these kind of pieces like fairies and artsy, that kind of stuff. But I thought I should have some in there that can, appeal to him too, or that he won't mind having on the wall. So I've got a couple pieces like that. So one is fairly big. Then I've got one which is a mini. Then 2 that are minis, which is a mini version of a full piece, large piece from Heaven Earth Designs. Oh, all 4 of them are Heaven Earth Designs. Haven't decided what count fabric I'm going to stitch them on. Either 22 count or 18 count, a mix of both for all 4 of them. And then the 4th one is going to be a super interesting one. Yeah, really looking forward to it, and I hope you guys are too. So if you want some more ideas of what I'm thinking about doing for Stitch Mania, you should really check out my Instagram page, because I will be on there teasing, showing little bits and pieces and hints of what I might be stitching on for Mania. The way I'm going to do it is, because I've picked 4 new starts, I'm going to continue with my 3 focus pieces of the year, the Ganesha, the Siamese fighting fish, and the mystery sow. I'll continue those, but for the rest of those week, instead of any of my other rotations, I will work solidly on that new start. So I think by the time my next video comes out, I will have started my first new start for Mania. Super excited, and I hope you guys are too, to see what I've picked out. So yes, that means my rotation wheel is going to grow exponentially. I'm going to have 4 more new pieces to add to the wheel, but for me, that's what makes it so exciting. I love having like multiple pieces to pick from, and I just love the variety of it. I know for some people it gives them anxiety to have so many pieces that are like unfinished and like, just sitting there. For me, I love it. I love it. It brings me joy to see all of those things out there in my little work in progress pile. And it is super exciting that I get to add 4 more new pieces, and I can't wait to show you guys what I'm going to work on. I think it is, I know I'm going to love stitching on these pieces, so I can't wait to hear what you guys think of the 4 pieces that I've selected. So that's what I've got coming up for the month of May. What else goes on in the stitching world? A lot of people do that Christmas in July thing, so I don't know. I don't have any current Christmas pieces because I finished my Christmas piece. So maybe I'll have to try and find something for Christmas and July. I don't know. I know I don't have to, participate in all the stitchy things, but sometimes it's fun. So that is my plan. So I can't wait to show you guys that. Today's video was a little longer than normal. I am so sorry. I hope I didn't, I hope you still enjoyed watching, but I can't wait to see you guys again next time, and hopefully I'll have something fun to show you, and I can't wait to see you guys again. It has been a blast. Thank you for joining me here on my Flosstube channel, and thank you for watching. I can't thank you enough for watching and liking and subscribing to my channel. So welcome to all my new subscribers. I love you guys. Thank you so much, and happy stitching, you guys. Have a wonderful, wonderful next 2 weeks until next time. Bye now.